I'm Maurice and welcome to Things Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, professional development. For today's video, it is terms only. The investment topic today will be Ethereum ticket ETH. First, just want to say happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you have a very great week so far. We're almost to the weekend. In respect to Ethereum, as of this morning, around 9:20 a.m. on Eastern time, right, I was currently trading around like $2,135, down about 2.3% at the moment, ever since the 3 consecutive positive days that I've been having so far, driven mainly by media affectation per my depictions in my previous videos. And as of this morning, or depending on what time zone you're in, or later last night, we got negative media affectation earlier today with respect to news coming from Decrypt, which is one of the media publication companies, and also Coin Telegraph around Jack Dorsey's, frankly saying no to Ethereum, his preferential treatment towards Bitcoin, despite Twitter, who is currently managed by Jack Dorsey himself, on launching its own collections of NFT tokens, which, contradictorily, runs on Ethereum. However, Jack Dorsey said specifically that he would not personally invest into Ethereum, that he's a proud Bitcoin maximalist, like he had been mentioning for this whole time, and all the other altcoin or other coins but Bitcoin are considered to be, and I quote, shitcoin per Jack Dorsey's characterization. So obviously this news is definitely a negative one, and it makes sense, and it's so obvious and how coincidental that we have such 4-5 consecutive positive news in the last 3 days so far. Then now we have this negative news to basically push it back down. It seems like a classic influential play based on how the depictions that we're seeing right now and how the momentum has been percolating ever since. So I'm going to go through a technical analysis again to see, with respect to this new catalyst right now, how is it shaking out the price point? How should we be dollar cost averaging going forward? And how should we be expecting the weekend affectation coming? And also with respect to the July 4th holiday, potential affectation as well. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Alright, so moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticket ETH. I'm recording as of 9:36 a.m. on Eastern time right now. Let's just take a look at the equity market real quick to see how it anti-correlates with the overall crypto market. You can see that right now, as of the market opened just now about 6 minutes ago, you can see with respect to SPY specifically, we are seeing more of a bullish pressure coming because of the cross section that you see here on the MACD we recently crossed. So with respect to where do we see, a sell-off coming for SPY, we should durate for a little bit more until I believe Friday. We should be seeing some red pressure because of the weekend affectations for equity market as well, knowing the fact that in the equity market we've been kind of pumping away, for the last couple of days already so far. And RSI is kind of telling you the story, right? Ever since that dip, we had the reversal. We have been, trending more towards the overbought level right now. But I think SPY we still have a little bit more room to run. Ahead of, until Friday, I believe sometimes around noontime, we should be seeing some selling pressure around there. And with respect to NASDAQ, you can see that we're also up as well, 0.11% right now. And NASDAQ is a little bit worrisome to me based on the chart we're seeing right now. You can see how much durations that we've had on the cross section that we durate since May 24th, and we've been pumping ever since without any breathing room so far. You can see that RSI we highly overbought at the moment right now. So I do see some corrections coming on the NASDAQ perspective, so definitely watch out for. I think probably ideal maybe buy some put options coming. I think we do have a propensity to leaning downward right now, and the fact that we're seeing some curvature already, on top of the fact that RSI is highly overbought right now, that the leap down just is bound to happen, and it's going to happen eventually in the very near term based on how the chart is set up right now. So that's the equity market. Obviously, positive pressure anti-correlates with the crypto market, which obviously driving Bitcoin to go down by negative 1.5%. Not so much down because of the positive news that we heard from Jack Dorsey's on his preferential treatments over Bitcoin versus all the other altcoin, right? And Ethereum, obviously, with that negative news directly, emphasizing on Ethereum, on Jack Dorsey's, saying no directly, and emphasizing on Ethereum, obviously with this dramatized media affectation again, will obviously have some selling pressure, selling down from the $2,250 that we had identified as a previous resistance level that we were hovering around. I think we were at 1.2263 at one point. and come back down because of this negative news, right? And just to keep tab on historical trends so far, ever since June 15th, we had the FOMC meeting, right? Which obviously the positive news on pushing the equity market go up, anti-correlates to the crypto market to go down, right? And then the James Bullard article on the inflationary outlook going forward obviously will push down the equity market, but both on the crypto market at the same time. And then this mega red candle that was derated from last Monday on the Chinese mining crackdown news, obviously major crypto market macro news. So four consecutive, I would say, of negative media affectation so far, right? And then in the recent time frame, we heard more news about the B word summit, around Jack Dorsey's invitation to Elon Musk and Cathie Wood on their, debates that's going to happen 1.5 weeks out on, the crypto assets as a whole and the value proposition around Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other altcoins they're going to be talking about, right? Obviously positive news. And also with respect to another positive news with respect to recent time frame that happened, I believe, on Monday, that Jim Cramer from CNBC decide to buy Ethereum for the first time, and his preferential treatment again towards Ethereum versus Bitcoin again, right? And also, in addition to that, we also heard another news from MarketWatch, which is a parent company owned by Dow Jones, that they published an article yesterday, basically a juxtaposition between Bitcoin versus Ethereum, right? And based on the depictions and how the writer portray the characterization of Ethereum, it seems like there was a higher propensity towards more of a positive spectrum towards Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So obviously with those like 5 collective consecutive media affectation that's been positive so far, that it seems a little fishy, right? And that's why I posted that video yesterday that the risk is increasing right now, based on just how influential the market dynamics has been occurring so far, and how dramatized and how frankly artificial it seems like so far. And as of today, we hear the news from Jack Dorsey's on his preferential treatments towards Bitcoin and how it anti-correlates with the value proposition of Ethereum, right? Despite him launching his own ETF on Twitter using as a basis of the exchange of Ethereum itself. So it definitely contradicts based on, the media affectation. I feel like the words that's being portrayed based on the media affectation is not really coming directly from Jack Dorsey's mouth. I think it's the way that media publication, I would say, specifically the 2 publication companies, one is Decrypt, the other one is Cointelegraph. These 2 companies are trying to enforce some sort of like market influential power as a form of factor to correct the Ethereum price point a little bit. I think, based on the technical analysis so far, we foresee there was going to be a sell-off coming. My expectation was that we were foreseeing expectations of a sell-off sometimes around Friday or Saturday, but it seems like it came a little bit earlier this time. So what I see the price point going forward, how do we risk mitigate going forward, is that with respect to the price point right now, we did break through the $2,150 level, which was the level that we have identified. So I do see a little bit of more of a selling pressure coming, actually, because of the fact that the equity market is relatively green today, on top of the fact that tomorrow is a Friday. So the probability of us going back down to the $2,050 level would be likely, because of the fact that we are kind of hovering in the air right now. We don't really have a lot of substantive support in between. We're just basically bouncing down right now, and you can see that the RSI is kind of dipping right now to normalize a little bit. So I think the opportune time to buy or further dollar cost average would be coming soon. I would wait off until maybe Friday, I think Friday afternoon ahead of the equity market closing. And I think we should be seeing some selling pressure on Saturday as well, just based on historical trends. Contingent on obviously normal media affectation, right? The battles between publication companies on, basically who wins the debate today based on what articles comes out on a certain day, right? So something to watch out for. I think is definitely something fishy going on right now. If you think long term, to dollar cost average at the optimal level based on logics and based on analytics would be $2,050. And then do we see like 1950 as the next leap down? I think maybe, because of like the 2 consecutive weekends of affectations, and also on top of the fact that with respect to on Sunday it's a holiday, and that could be another week affectation that we might be experiencing. But again, this is a US factor, not a global factor, but something to watch out for. It seems like whatever goes up really, really fast has to come down just as fast, right? So I do see, RSI to be depleting a little bit more downward. So for us to be testing the 1950 again, I think it will be difficult, but I think it's a possible momentum that we should be seeing right now, basically to match back up with the level that we tested back in June 27th, right, before the whole bounce up ahead of the summit, right, which I foresee that will be some bullish momentum 1 week out of the summit. We're gonna be expecting, right, contingent on whatever outcome of the summit, because of the fact that it's an anticipatory type of momentum. We gain a lot more exposures in the market perspective. People just tend to buy up, right? As we learn more about the affectations going forward. So I'll definitely keep an eye out on, and also keeping tabs on all the media affectation to see how artificial it is, how substantive is it, and what are the evidentiary support that we should be using as a support going forward to calculate the right price execution going forward. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, just to recap all the numbers that we talked about in the technical analysis, I think the $2,150, that's a level that we actually broke through right now. But if you want to buy now, that's fine, because of the fact that that's a relatively substantive level that we've been testing before. And I told you we tested basically, if you include today, we've tested 17 times so far. And I've been keeping tabs again, right? And with respect to the 2050, I think the likelihood of us getting there because of the weekend affectation coming would be possible, but we have to see how the equity market is going to go tomorrow, because we have been having consecutive positive days in the equity market so far that it will subsequently have an anti-correlation effect. So we might get there, but the likelihood of us getting there by Saturday would be likely. So something to watch out for, right? Because whatever goes up really, really fast in a consecutive fashion comes down just as fast. And I think based on the pictures that we see right now, how it's being portrayed and how it's percolating so far, it seems like that's what's going to be happening based on just historical trends. And I'm not trying to provide any bias or any feelings into it. It's just based on logics and how it's being portrayed and it's being played out in front of us right now. Do we see 1950? We might. I think by Saturday, ahead of the Sunday, which is again, right, it's July 4th holiday weekend. That is more of an X factor at the moment. To be honest with you, we might see some selling pressure coming from the U.S. market, right? And I think in people on the international market, if you know about logics and foreshadow type of momentum, we might see some selling pressure just because we will try to hedge against the U.S. affectation. So that's something to look out for. 1950 would definitely be a very attractive level to buy it right now ahead of the summit that we'll be hearing basically 1.5 weeks out, right? We should be seeing some bullish momentum next week, or mid next week to be more specific, ahead of the summit that's coming, and that should be so net we should be positive going forward on a macro level, but near term we might see some selling pressure just because of whatever goes up really, really fast comes down really fast. So with respect to 12-month price target, 20% adoption, 9,800, 4.6 times your money if you buy at $2,150 level. All right, so that's it for there with respect to my technical analysis on Ethereum ticker ETH. Hopefully this is helpful in terms of how I'm keeping tabs into the media application so far and how I triangulate with the macro market dynamics with the technical analysis that we see in front of us onto projecting out the price execution that is ideal for us to dollar cost average going forward to build that long-term value proposition, the long-term value gains that we are looking and aspire to have going forward. So please, feel free to hit me up if you have any questions or if there's anything unclear. Happy to address them again. And have a great rest of the day and watch out for the next week coming up. Take care. Bye.